Good morning, students. Today it's 13th of April, and we are going to continue our lesson number 1 of chapter number 12. I want you all to open page number 483 of your textbooks. On this page, we have the topic expanding and contracting. When heat flows into an object, the object gains thermal energy. Its temperature increases. Its particles move faster and further apart. The object gets bigger or expands. Now, this we had discussed yesterday, that when some object gains heat, when heat flows into some object, it will gain its thermal energy. Its thermal energy will be increased. When thermal energy is increased, so its particle will have more energy and it move faster and farther apart. Now, when this happens, the object will expand because the particles are moving very quickly now. They are very fast. So in this way, the objects will expand. It will get bigger. On the opposite, when heat flows away from an object, when heat is taken away, when heat flows away from an object, the object loses thermal energy. Its temperature decreases. Its particles move slowly. The object gets smaller or contracts. Now, when the heat flows away, from an object, the thermal energy of the particles of that object will decrease. The object will lose thermal energy. When thermal energy is lost, its temperature will decrease. When its temperature will decrease, its particles will move slowly. And when the particles move slowly, the object it gets smaller, or in other words, we can say the object contracts. So when heat flows into an object, it will expand. When heat is taken out, when heat flows out of an object, it will contract. You can see matter expand on or contract in a thermometer. What is a thermometer? A thermometer is a tool used to measure temperature. Thermometer is an instrument used to measure the temperature. Some thermometers are made up of a clear tube filled with a liquid. Some thermometers it's just a clear tube and it is filled with some liquid. That liquid is usually a mercury. When the temperature of the liquid increases, the liquid expands. Means when the heat flow into the mercury, it will rise. The temperature will increase. When the temperature it rises and fills more of the tube. It rises in the tube. It fills more of the tube. But when the temperature decreases, when the temperature of the liquid decreases, the liquid contracts, it fills less of the tube. Means when the temperature decreases, the liquid comes down, it contracts, and it fills less of the tube. Now the other topic we have is changing state. Heat can cause matter to change state. Solids such as ice cream can melt when they are heated. Liquids such as water can evaporate when they are heated. They can freeze when heat flows from them. Means if some heat is provided to the solids, they will melt. The solid will convert to liquid state. Like if you have ice cubes, you provide heat to them. When you provide heat to ice cubes, they will melt. Solid will convert into liquid. But when you provide heat to liquids such as water, they can evaporate. The liquid will convert into gas form. They can freeze when heat flows from them. And on the opposite, they can freeze if heat flows from them. If the heat is taken out, if the heat flows away from them, the liquids will freeze. Now on the left side of the page, you have a picture of the cracks on the roads. Roads can crack as they expand and contract with changing temperatures. Means when it's hot, the road will expand. When it's cold, the road will contract. In this way, the cracks are formed. Now on the next page, 484, we have how can we control the flow of heat. Heat moves more easily through some materials than others. That is why pots are often made of metal. Means some materials they will conduct, they will transfer the heat quickly, and some slowly. Like for example, we have the metal pots we use in cooking. They are made from metals. Why? Because they are good conductors. Now what is conductor? This we will discuss. They can transfer heat, they can absorb heat very quickly. Heat moves easily through metals. Heat moves from the stove to the metal pot, the whole pot gets formed. The same thing which I told you, that the pot will receive heat, it will get heat from the stove, and it will the whole pot will become very hot. The whole pot gets warm. Materials such as metals are good conductors. Metals, they are good conductors. What is a conductor? A conductor is a material that heat moves through easily. A conductor is a material that heat moves through easily. Conductor is any material through which heat can transfer easily. Heat can pass through them. They are good. They are conductors. A conductor is any material through which heat passes easily. When you are cold, you wrap up yourself in a blanket to keep warm. The blanket is an insulator. Insulator is opposite of conductor. An insulator is a material. An insulator is a material that heat does not move through easily. That can store the heat. The heat cannot move through them easily. That's called an insulator. Wool, cotton, and fur are good examples of insulators. That's all for today. I stop the session here. The lesson is also finished. The next lesson, inshallah, we will continue tomorrow. Thanks for today.